There are moments when a culture reveals itself not through laws or elections, but through how its loudest voices choose to spend their time. This weekend, a group of internet personalities, men with microphones, followings, and influence, decided to spend their nights praising evil. They laughed, they toasted, they flirted with the ugliest ideas of the 20th century. They praised Adolf Hitler in a nightclub like it was a joke, like it was an edgy form of entertainment, like it was some rebellious rite of passage. Among them were Nick Fuentes, Tristan Tate, Myron Gaines, and others who believe provocation is the same thing as courage, that cruelty is the same thing as truth, and that tearing things down counts as building something. I want to be very clear before I go any further. What they did was not based, not funny, not ironic, not misunderstood. It was wrong. It was evil. And it deserves to be called exactly that. Now, let me tell you how I spent my weekend. I stood on the sideline and watched my two sons play football. I saw them get knocked down. I saw them get back up. I saw them learn discipline, teamwork, and resilience, things that actually build men. I took my daughter to a 4-hour show rehearsal. 4 hours. Anyone who's ever done that knows it's not glamorous. It's not Instagram worthy. It's patience. It's presence. It's showing a child that her effort matters. I lifted weights. I went for a run. Not to post about it, not to posture, but because strength is stewardship. Because if you're going to lead, you'd better be able to carry the weight. I had a beer with a good friend, celebrated his birthday. Real friendship, eye contact, laughter, the kind of community that doesn't happen in comment sections. I went to Mass. I knelt. I listened. I was reminded that I am not the center of the universe, and neither is politics, nor grievance, nor ego. I went on a date with my wife. We talked about our kids, our future, the ordinary beauty of a shared life built slowly over time. And later that night, I slept in a recliner with a 1-month-old baby on my chest, rocking her so my wife could sleep. No audience, no applause, just responsibility. Those were the 2 weekends. Now, here's the question every honest person has to answer. Which of those is a better model for the country that we are trying to build? On one side, you have men in their 20s and 30s praising one of history's greatest mass murderers in a nightclub. Men who talk endlessly about saving civilization while actively mocking the very thing that makes civilization possible. Family, faith, loyalty, responsibility, restraint. On the other side, you have the boring stuff, the unsexy stuff, the work that doesn't trend, raising kids, loving a spouse, building a body that can endure, submitting to something higher than yourself, being present when no one is watching. One side produces clicks, the other produces citizens. One side produces resentment, the other produces continuity. One side is addicted to outrage, the other is rooted in obligation. And here's the part they never want to talk about. The men praising Hitler don't actually build anything. They don't build families, they don't build churches, they don't build businesses that last, they don't mentor young men into healthy marriages, they don't raise children who are grateful to be alive. They build audiences, they build brands, they build resentment, and they burn through young men like fuel, convincing them that the reason their life feels empty is because some external enemy, rather than the absence of meaning, discipline, and love. Let's talk about masculinity for a moment, because that word gets thrown around a lot by people who seem allergic to its responsibilities. Masculinity is not shouting slurs in a nightclub. Masculinity is not hiding behind irony. Masculinity is not worshiping tyrants because you're angry at the world. Masculinity is restraint. Masculinity is provision. Masculinity is protection. Masculinity is showing up over and over and over again when it would be easier to disappear into nihilism. The men who romanticize Hitler always tell you they care about the future. But the future doesn't belong to men who refuse to love women, raise children, or submit themselves to moral limits. The future belongs to people willing to plant trees they will never sit under. That's the great lie at the heart of this anti-Semitic escapade, the lie that destruction is strength. Hitler didn't build a strong nation, he built a death cult. He didn't elevate men, he reduced them to instruments of murder. And praising that legacy isn't rebellious, it's intellectually lazy and morally bankrupt. And let me say this plainly because it needs to be said, anti-Semitism is not a side issue. It is a moral cancer. It always has been. Every society that tolerates it eventually turns on itself. America does not need more men obsessed with enemies. America needs more men obsessed with responsibility. It does not need more rage. It needs more fathers at football games. It does not need more podcasts glamorizing cruelty. It needs more husbands taking their wives on dates. It does not need more nightclubs echoing with evil jokes. It needs more quiet nights rocking newborns to sleep. If you're a young man watching this and you feel pulled toward the anger, the edge, the supposed truth tellers, ask yourself one simple question. Do I want my life to look like theirs at 40? At 50? Do you want your weekends filled with mockery and emptiness, or do you want a life so full that you're tired in the best possible way? The men praising Hitler want to burn the house down because they've never learned how to build one. They mistake loneliness for insight and bitterness for bravery. I'm not interested in that future. I'm interested in the future built by men who lift weights and lift children, who honor God and honor vows, who know that civilization isn't saved by memes, but by millions of quiet, faithful, disciplined lives lived well. 2 weekends, 2 visions, 2 futures. Choose wisely.
Hey, we the people like Garcia, so that's no excuse.